Warheads, and welcome to The League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
My name is Mark.
Today we're talking about the Mad Chemist Singed, who was released April 18th, 2009.
Very old boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he was certainly in the original set of designed champions, right? Like the
the
OG
original
crew.
5.
5? Really?
Yeah.
Damn. Who else is
That's
in?
wild.
Who else is in that? TF maybe.
TF.
Would be my guess.
Yep,
Who else
TF
is
was in
old?
there. Actually, I
Rise,
have it
Garen?
written down.
I
Is it a
assume
fun fact?
Garen.
I don't think Garen was.
No?
No.
Let's see. So it is Annie,
Okay.
Lee Sin, actually, even though he didn't get released until much later.
Wow.
What a
Scion, Sivir, and Twisted Fate.
Wow.
Huh.
Scion.
Those are the
That's
first
so wild.
5 designed.
Damn. How appropriate. We're doing Scion next week, right?
Yeah.
Hey. Fucking great. All these old motherfuckers.
They got a brand new coat of paint on them. They're new now.
I mean, Scion definitely. Singed is still pretty. Well,
Right?
he's still pretty
he's-
old in his
I'll say Singed is one of the first champions I ever played and enjoyed, which is really funny to me because Singed is not the type of champion I play at all. But for a long time, if I played a melee champ, it would be Singed, and I still enjoy him. And he feels kind of the same as he always has.
Yeah.
Back in like 2012, which is wild. Not a lot of champions have that going for them. He's had some changes, but
A few, yeah. They gave him some grounding on his
yeah,
glue. They gave him some sort of interaction with the fling and the glue.
yeah, which I never utilize at all.
I mean,
I
the
have,
important-
yeah, I don't think I have yet.
I've never. I don't have the
Coordination.
yeah. I guess.
whatever. The brain
Y'all,
power.
we're going on like no sleep
No
tonight
sleep.
for the record.
I'm in a
so-
moo right now, and I'm drinking iced coffee at fucking 8:13 p.m. right now because I've been up since 4:30 in the morning.
I went to bed at
Jesus.
4 and then was woken up at 4:30 and then woken up again whenever she woke up, and then we're doing construction on the house and then that woke me up too. So
Let's go.
we're killing
I had
it
a really
today,
good
y'all.
night's sleep, actually. We had one wake up and then a nice normal 6:15.
nice.
I'm like living the fucking high life over here. So,
Hell yeah.
I've
No
cursed
wonder you want to
myself
play
now.
League.
Yeah, now you want to play League, and we're like, but bed though. I could lay in bed.
I could pass out.
So what's our boy Singed sound like?
I love Singed's voice. It's not like good or anything. I don't know. It's not bad either. It's
It
just
fits him.
yeah. He sounds like. How about a drink?
Nice. To shake or not to shake.
Very good, very good.
I can't do man voice.
Mix, swirl, mix.
Nice. That's what I was saying as I was coming down the stairs over and over.
Yeah, I knew those 3 quotes were gonna be the ones that we said.
Yeah.
because I think
He doesn't have a lot to choose
Do
from.
not have a lot of quotes.
Much like his gameplay, his quotes have not gone through a lot.
But we still
Which
kind of
is-
like it.
I know, which is disappointing because Singed is. His lore was way more enjoyable than I was expecting it to be. I have no notes, y'all. I'm really sorry because I was putting off reading it until today and thinking like, oh my god, it's going to be like nothing. And then there was actually more than I was expecting.
You just kind of assume that like super
He's-
old champ.
it's gonna be
he's
like
gonna get the
Heimerdinger.
old champ
Yeah.
treatment. But
Yeah.
they put some time into it because like
They did.
he's tied into kind of some weird champions. Like he's tied into Warwick. So I think when they did the Warwick visual update, they added more Singed lore for that.
That makes sense.
Obviously, we've got a ton of like Arcane stuff too, and they probably knew he was going to be a part of that. Like, there's more there than you would expect.
I think
Yeah, but
Singed, I was gonna say he's the surprise of the year, man,
Right.
and it's all really good too. Like
I
especially
know.
the host.
But that's-
oh my god.
all that to say, I think I would love a voice update based on this lore. Not even you can get the same voice actor. I think they did a good job. But new lines and stuff based on what we know about Singed now and how
Right.
bonkers dark it all is, and this weirdly like evil neutral area he sits in, which is supremely fun. I don't think we get that a lot with just villains in general. Kind of where
Yeah.
he sits is really, really interesting.
He's not like, yeah, it's like, it doesn't seem like he has grand schemes.
No.
He's just like, he's just doing it to see if he can do it, you know?
Just to see if he can. I mean, I guess he does have, like, I guess what I liked about the bio, I will say, we haven't done it yet, is that it does end with, like, here's a vague sort of, like, overarching goal, but that's not his, like, big driving force. It's just that enough to give him, like, here's a little something he might be working on in the future, which I kind of liked. It was, like, just enough. But, yeah, like you said, that neutral evil and man, just the way he is written in both the stories, especially the host, it is like prime fodder for a VO update, frankly. I was sitting there I was watching the baby crawl around, and in my head I was like, man, what would the new VO lines be like? I was just like writing them in my head because they were so fun to do, I would say.
Yeah. And I think a surprising thing about this too is the bio, the short story, and the second short story, all written by different people, but like tonally, they all locked in on this shit.
It fit. Yeah, they all had the right idea there. I guess because he has such a clear
Archetype,
vision. Yeah, archetype. Yeah, you know, he feels like a smart Mundo. It's like if Mundo was actually the scientist he thinks he is. That's Singed.
If he was hurting people on purpose instead of
Yeah.
Man, that's the thing, is that would be tons of fun to see, and I would love to have Mundo like as an antagonist almost to Singed, because Mundo sees what Singed is doing is like bad in some way.
But he's a little envious of it almost.
Yeah, I don't know how you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or even Singed captures Mundo and tries to experiment on him, but since like, you know, the pain being the activator for like all of his experiments, but Mundo's just sitting here fucking loving it. And
it's kind of the same
worthless
fun of like
garbage.
Yeah, it's like the same fun of like putting Mundo with Evelyn, where it's Mundo is just frustrating to somebody. Right? He's like trying to like get all like spooky with him. It's like, okay, Mundo love.
Now I'm kind of
Mundo, just the Runeterra's biggest edger.
I'm kind of First of all, that's Evelyn. But I'm kind of imagining them as Pinky in the Brain now. If Mundo was like his assistant,
purpley in the brain,
purple in the brain.
That's pretty fun.
Although someone was called the Brain in one of the short stories, that doesn't quite fit.
He was the thinker, right?
The thinker. You're right. Yeah. Damn, I fucked that up. All right. Well, Singed's bio. We'll try to slap this together, much like Singed slaps people together. Singed was not a normal man in Piltover. He was an ordinary man in Piltover. The first line of his bio does it for me.
Nice subversion, huh?
Yeah. He grew up in Piltover, very smart little boy, and then eventually went to University of Piltover. He was recognized as being very brilliant, very fast. Okay, let me see. What else happened after that?
And from there, we're off the rails.
And that's Singed. No.
He's a successful scientist in Piltover to this day.
Could you imagine? All right, so Singed was a little jaded by the hex tech when that came around. He thinks that they're leaning a little too much on this magic side of the magic-y science. And he started working with alchemy instead. He was kind of just laughed out of college. That's kind of what it sounds like.
Even though he was the only one doing science. Everyone else is doing magic science. Like, oh, look at this fucking guy.
He's kind of like I was going to say the boomer a little bit, where he's like, this new hex tech bad.
You're right.
I'm going to stick to my alchemy. And they're like, Singed, you missed another meeting. It's like, I don't know. I don't get those hex tech emails.
It's worked the same way for 20 years, Singed. How do you not?
Like every time we try and do a call with Singed, he cannot get the fucking can't get Zoom figured out.
I'm not a cat.
They invited him to a Zoom, and that's why he invented the stimulant that makes him run faster. He just completely missed the idea.
Oh man. Anyway, he had to go to Zaun because he's broke now. Zaun's cheap. Singed was able to find some work with the Chemtech peeps. I'm trying to figure out how he got. I'm trying to remember how he got to where he was after that.
He eventually, I know, I do remember.
Thank you.
So Noxus is kind of shopping around for people to help them. Now, I will say, I'm already getting confused with the old bio. Is this the one where Noxus is like taxed to death with the tithes trying to... Okay. So get this, listener. Noxus is doing campaigns in Northern Shurima, but they have to pay tithes when they pass through the Sun Gates, right, in Piltover. And so Noxus is like, ooh, we're almost bankrupt. So we're going to instead look to invade somewhere else. So theoretically, Ionia could have been invaded purely for financial reasons. Okay?
Right? If like...
I forgot about all that.
If the toll for the Sun Gates was just a little bit less... Ionia never would have been invaded.
He's just driving through the tri-state area. That's what it's like.
Darkwood, you gotta get the fucking toll pass, man. It's just,
you gotta get an easy pass, man.
That is
the
silly.
Ezzy pass.
It's silly, but at the same time, that could be a fun thing to explore. Anyway, so they're looking to invade Ionia, and they eventually one of the generals. Emiston?
Yes.
Yeah. Is looking for a new little spice, a little bit of heat to kick things up in Ionia, and so she hires Singed. And Singed does crazy fucking good work. We talked about it a bunch of times. He's the one who preps all the chemical warfare shit that goes off in Ionia. It fucks everything
and Emiston
up.
is the person that Riven and her band were transporting basically across Ionia.
Yeah. And pretty much after that point, he like that's the job that sets him up for life, right? He has no more want for funds or anything, so he's free to do whatever he wants. And what he wants to do, aside from just general mad scientist shit, is he also might want to live forever. So he's kind of exploring that angle a little bit, you know?
Yeah, there's a little mention of, I imagine, his experiment with Warwick. That's gone wrong.
Does
no,
it get mentioned in the bio? It's hard for me to remember.
They mentioned something that had gone wrong, and that's why he has the bandages on his face now, and that his eye is all melty.
Yeah, I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think they specified Warwick.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, it was Warwick that did it, but I don't think they specified.
No, they didn't mention him by name. No,
it was
but it was just. I thought it was. Yeah.
The quote was a recent exercise in the melding of animal, man, and machine left his laboratories in ruins, his face held together with filthy bandages, and his subject freely prowling the streets of Zaun.
Yeah.
But he remains undeterred, so he's got that gumption.
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, that's cool.
That made me wonder, because I guess we'll talk about it in that story a little bit, but there's a specific line that almost reads as if he had already had a bunch of facial wounds. I don't know. Whatever. We'll talk about it then. But yes, Warwick is
well, in the host,
here.
that's after Warwick and all that, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, so there's a story where Warwick shows up or when Warwick is kind of created.
Okay, I was thinking about the other story. Sorry.
No, yeah. And in that Warwick story, he, because it's from Singed's perspective, he says, he opened the old wounds, and so I assumed he already had some facial issues going on.
I'm sure he's doing a lot of he's working with a lot of chemicals.
You need a fucking,
and also that explosion in Arcane, if that's canon.
Yeah,
I don't know.
mean, it's not, but that's fine. That's fine.
It is in my heart.
Yeah,
right. Different explanation for the bandages.
Yeah.
So it said that he had engineered stimulants that could keep him alert and working for weeks at a time before he would collapse, shivering and feeble, and sleep for days on end. And I want to know, where's that part of his kit? Where's the part where after he ults, he just fucking takes a nap for the rest of the match?
Well, that's what happens when I play him, because I die almost immediately after ulting.
Those are the gray screens, are the
I
naps.
got it! I'm going in.
It's almost like I was dead for 45 seconds or some shit like that. I don't know. But honestly,
we need to be able to see her, John.
I think it'll automatically go, right?
Oh, does it? Sorry.
They're fighting over whether or not to look at the baby while they talk about
Singed.
Singed.
Because John she was making noise, so John muted her.
Shut the fuck up, we're recording.
You're not welcome in this podcast.
If you make cute cooing noises, you're welcome in the
But
podcast.
you're whining.
Hiccups, yeah.
She's back to sleep, though. We're not abandoning her, baby. Don't worry. We would go get her if she was really upset.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say the fact that he is trying to work on some sort of chemical mixture that will let him live forever, or at least like cheat death. Sounds like he has like a lot in common with Renata on this one, because she's kind of already, I mean, I don't know if her kit is canon, but she already kind of has that ability that you're gonna die, and it's like, nope, not anymore, come on back.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
a really good point. I mean, I could not help but feel like, oh man, these two should fucking link up
Me too.
so hard. But I mean, that's why they did it in Arcane, right? It's because it's so natural a melding or a coming together of like relatively similar interests, you know?
Yeah, Singed feels so hidden in a way. I mean, there's so much awful stuff going on in Zaun. Singed almost feels like this hidden rat in the sewers that people don't really know that he's there.
Right, and probably responsible for so much of what's going on.
Sure.
The Chem Barons are probably leaning on him for a lot of shit.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's kind of almost how he comes off in Arcane, where, you know, he's kind of in the background until he isn't. I find the rat comment fucking hilarious, by the way. When we get to the Journal of Justice, that is going to be so prescient.
Interesting.
And then also Twitch, which I don't think is related to the JOJ stuff, but like, that's fun too.
He's another rat in Zaun.
Yeah,
He's also
a rat.
another rat.
Yeah. I think you're right, and you know, I think I like too is that we'll see it in the stories is that the things he does, like the Chem Barons are bad, but they're bad in these almost sort of they're like flashy, right? Almost like they're these big,
In like
loud
and
ways.
businessy, you know?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, impersonal in a way where like his stuff is also, he's very impersonal in his horrible Dr. Mengele shit, but it's also stuff that you know is important to him, that he cares about beyond like, I just want to make money, you know what I mean? Like his work is important to him.
Yeah.
The money is only there to fund his work.
Yeah.
But he's an interesting villain that, you know, I like villains who genuinely think they're doing good, but I don't think Singed thinks that he's doing anything good or bad necessarily. That's where the neutrality
He's
comes
just
in
doing
so
science.
hard. Yeah, he's just doing science, and it's not right, it's not wrong, it's what he wants to do.
For sure. Sorry, I'm dying over here. This Singed is killing me.
Oh no! Stop chasing him.
Man. And yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to say about the bio, but it feels very logically constructed, I would say. It feels like the flow of Singed from like respected professor to where he's at now feels reasonable. Yeah. And I thought the turn of, he works for Noxus, and in turn it gives him this complete access to like all the funding and whatever it is he needs to do his shit. Makes sense. Character, you know, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
It just feels very natural, you know?
And I don't know exactly what... I know I read some bios sometimes, and I don't like them. And I don't know exactly why on all of them. A lot of them feel like information dense, but I still feel like I got nothing after I finish reading it. I'm like, I still know fucking nothing about this character. But Singe is like the exact opposite.
Yeah.
It didn't... I mean, it felt dense in that there was a lot going on, but like it didn't feel like a slog. And you know so much about Singed by the end.
Yeah, I wonder if part of it is that like his motivations are not like emotionally driven. He's so very calculated, I guess, in a way, which it's easy to write that in a neutral way, which the bios all kind of have to be. There's usually not a lot of emotion in them.
I think it'd be a good point. I kind of feel like I could be wrong. This might not be completely accurate, but when I read this bio, every paragraph is like, okay, here's the next thing that happened, and like here's a new, I don't know, it which I guess is probably the case for other bios that we don't like. You know, there's some ephemeral quality to Singed that it works very properly, where it's like it doesn't waste time, and it's still, each one is unveiling a nice new piece of information about his journey, I guess. I don't know.
And didn't leave like a ton of questions. Like, problem we have with Shyvana's bio is so much of it didn't really make a lot of sense, and it's because they took chunks of it out and then didn't replace it with anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, and it's like you said too, Rebecca. I mean, Singed, there's no normally we're like, oh, we need some connections here, but Singed has no connections, and that's kind of his thing, and it works here. So we don't need to know, like, well, what about his daughter, or well, I guess. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see Singed interact with more people in Zaun, but not for an emotional connection reason, just because I think it would be really fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like interact with Echo, just like, hey, how are your parents doing?
Oh my god. Echo, like, poor Echo. I think he probably doesn't know exactly what's deep down there in Zaun. He's already dealing with so much shit.
I mean, can I just say, when you talked about Singed meeting Echo, it is such a menacing image and feeling I got in my gut. Like, because I care for Echo, right?
I'm protective of Echo. He's like our boy, like we got to take care of him.
And him seeing Singed is so much scarier than him seeing Mundo or like even Renata, really. I think Singed might be the scariest thing in Zaun. And maybe...
I think he might be, because he doesn't... There's no attachment to any person there. He could do these horrible things to any of these people. And he seems very good at controlling these monstrosities he makes and getting away from them. Like, he was... We'll talk about it in the host, but at no point was he fearful for his life, despite what he was working with there.
Right? Which is wild.
Yeah, he was confident, like, I've got this. This thing's not going to kill me. I'm not going to let it. And he didn't. And it was in a way that made sense, even for him being probably a little physically weak. I imagine Singed is not like
Actually, the opposite.
Oh.
I think canonically he's much stronger and faster than normal people.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
It's hard because, again, this is like old bio leaking into my brain, where I know that was super established in the old bio, but that's partially because those really old bios were like trying to describe the champion kit as well. So, like, this Singed I could totally buy being more arcane-ish, where he's just a guy, but he's just exceptionally competent, and he he's got that creepy sort of mastery over his environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so. I like that. That's very well put. A mastery of his environment. He definitely
he's very
does.
Fucking Batman.
Yeah,
sure.
He is.
Story.
But I guess more of a Batman villain, I suppose.
I mean, you're not wrong. He's got a fucking utility belt. Shit. Or something akin to it. All right.
He disappears down alleyways.
He does. And then pops up behind them. Throws them in a goo. Like Batman.
Like Batman, yeah. Where are the drugs going? Into you. That's where.
I would love to see that version of Batman. He sounds way more interesting of all the ones we've gotten so far.
There's got to be some
that would be the Michael Keaton one, I feel like.
So you want to take us through the host for... Oh, so bio, by the way, was by Ian St. Martin. Yeah. The host is by Amanda Jeffrey.
If you want to know anything about Singed, you read this one.
if you want to read what might be my favorite story of the year, right?
Ooh,
maybe up there with Sisterhood of War. You read this fucking shit. This is great. Also, that name is not at all familiar to me, I will say. I don't remember anything
Amanda Jeffrey. Yeah.
But goddamn, please write some more. Spoiler, I loved this fucking story. Oh my god, it's so good.
Very horror. It's very vile. Just
it's
I guess fair warning there. It's very repulsive.
Yeah, this is a body horror story for sure. So if you're uncomfortable with that, don't read it.
Man, okay, so the host, sure. So it's told from the perspective of a victim of one of Singed's experiments. And I'm trying to figure out like the best way to describe this. So
that's hard.
This victim is they've been experimented on already by Singed. Singed has been working on them, and is essentially trying to get them to do something. And what they've kind of referenced at the start of the story is that Singed cut them open and put teeth in them. It's like the second line in the fucking thing.
It's really early on in there. He's like, it's like I'm full of teeth because I am.
Right.
It reminded me of like
it's really good.
That Malzahar story where people's teeth are moving around in their faces or whatever.
Yeah.
There's something about teeth. When your teeth are not in the right place, shit's fucked. Okay,
Teeth are not supposed to be in your stomach.
Right? That's not where they belong.
Get them out of there.
they help get stuff. It's just inefficient, right? They're supposed to be before the stomach. Anyway, so Singed is the whole time. Singed is like looking at this person through. They're in some sort of glass enclosure, and Singed is on the other side of the glass, and Singed is kind of talking to them, but is mostly doing it through these sort of detached like research notes, like talking into a voice recorder of like subject, and the subject, he keeps referencing them as thinker, is unresponsive or uncooperative, etc. Blah blah blah. And Singed is essentially trying to get this person to so what they've got going on, I have to describe it to help explain what's happening. What they've got going on is they have these pincer mouth mandible things in their chest that run from like sternum down to like belly button. And there's another subject that Singed has also been experimenting on that is referred to as Breaker, who has been blinded, and have these giant fists that have then also been augmented with like, I guess, Chemtech or something, just running in and through their forearms. And Singed is essentially trying to get Thinker, our teeth stomach person, to kind of latch onto Breaker and use Breaker as a host. Now this person, the POV torture subject, it keeps trying to say no, doesn't want to do it, but Singed is essentially not waterboarding, but just like torturing them essentially to get them to do what they want. And Thinker continues to kind of resist until it's a little unclear here. Something happens, some sort of explosion happens within the lab that kind of sets things askew. And in that moment, so they've been torturing Thinker with water. Singed is kind of nowhere to be found after this explosion, and Thinker has been crippled. Their leg, like they've been smashed by debris. Their legs don't work, but Breaker is still there, and Thinker, in like this moment of like human compassion, despite all this horrible shit that's happening, tries to get Breaker to leave without them. But Breaker also, it's just like almost of mice and men, like it's kind of Lenny, like doesn't want to leave Thinker. But Thinker keeps kind of pushing Breaker to go, just go, get out. I'll lead you out. You can come back for me. And as Thinker is like drowning and dying in this water that's been building up from this explosion, Breaker comes back. And Breaker comes back to take Thinker, and they kind of get out. And in that moment, these mandibles that are on the chest feel Breaker's spine like up against them. And Thinker really doesn't want to, but just knows that if they don't do that, they're going to die, and can't help, almost reflexively sort of sinks these mandible things into Breaker's spine, and they suddenly become fused as one, right? Like they're two separate people in two separate minds that are suddenly sort of fusing into a single individual. And so they're kind of traipsing around Zaun, sort of coming to grips with the reality. It's like they are becoming I, where like instead of reference, like they have two separate voices that are going on, where like one person's like, oh, I can't breathe, my spine is crushed, and the other voice in parentheses will be like, my spine is fine, my lungs are full of air, blah blah blah. And they're slowly melding into a single individual. It's kind of almost like, I don't know, like Frankenstein a little bit in a way. In the same way that they also run into a bunch of like Victor cultists who, like villagers, like pull out torches and pitchforks. Like, what is that thing? And trying to chase it down.
That's too far.
That's fucking weird. I've got a lung on my back, and this shit's fucked. It flees from the angry Victor villagers, and it goes back to this place that, again, the host, or not the host, the parasite, who was our perspective character, whose name was Hadri. Is it? Do I think right?
So.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
Hadri was our perspective character. Was the person with the teeth in their stomach, and is latched onto Breaker, whose name is Palo, right? They go back to this home, and it's Palo's old home, and it's all burnt down, and they're trying to find kind of like a solace away from everything. And then Singed shows back up, essentially, and Singed is still doing the same shit he was doing back in the fucking place, where he's the whole time is just like trying to test this organism, I don't know what you want to call it, them too, gets whatever information it is that he wants. And Palo / Hadri, I don't know how you want to describe this, kind of
Padri.
like Padri. I love that. Singed seems to get what he wants, and is sort of also for like, this is kind of okay, but what a waste, and sort of walks off. Padre starts chasing after, and then realizes like, oh, this is all a trap. There's gas in the air, gets kind of knocked out, and then essentially they're just like dying. And as Padre is dying, Singed kind of leans over him, pulls out the voice recorder, and asks one more question, and Padre sort of dies, and that's the end of it. It's a pretty long story. Definitely read it. It's really fucking good. What did y'all think?
I liked it a lot. It gave me big... I don't know if you've seen like The Walrus or read kind of Escape from Furnace?
It does have Escape from Furnace vibes. That's it's like old YA series about this like underground prison that like did not get enough hype. There's a lot of body horror in that too.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I had that vibe. Or you said Human Centipede as well before I read it.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Human Centipede, especially when they sewed because at one point they weren't biting, so Singed was like, maybe if I sew the two together, it'll bite.
God,
but yeah, it had big vibes of that.
Oh my God, yes. Human Centipede is a great comparison, I feel like. I don't know. I fucking loved this story. I can't express enough how much I loved it, because not only is there like gross, horrible, revolting body horror, which I love, but at the same time there are those moments, like I said, where they have a chance to escape, and I genuinely felt like bad for Breaker, because Breaker is like,
I wanted them to just go.
Yeah.
Like just live in Zaun somewhere. Like you'll find people who accept you, I assume, in Zaun.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you got these two characters who you don't really know anything about. Like you don't even know the name of one of them, but it does a super effective job of communicating the suffering that they are both like experiencing and have experienced. And so in that moment where Breaker can escape and Thinker realizes that, Thinker is kind of making this self-sacrificing moment of like, I just need to convince. It's almost like Harry and the Hendersons, right? Where it's like, get out of here, go. But it's not mean. He's just like, no, I'll come. You can come get me, but you got to make sure it's safe. So you got to go and get out of here, right? And don't come back for me. Come back for me only after you've checked. And it's like, I know I'm gonna die. I'm holding on to my last breath. I don't know why, but I just don't want to. I don't want to die. But at least Breaker is okay. And then Breaker shows back up. And it's like, oh fuck, oh no.
Yeah, it's like this. The two of them like both willing to die for a stranger. That's really what I think what connects you to them so hard.
Yeah. Such trauma bonding in there.
Yeah, and that they do kind of describe that, or Thinker describes that as like he doesn't know this person, but he remembers suffering with him, and that's yeah.
In that other moment where like once they've escaped and they're kind of weirdly bonded, and they go to Breaker's old, so this is now Breaker's old home, and they're having this weird sort of mix of memory. Like the whole, once they've bonded, that whole sequence is also so interesting to read, because they're having these weird like different physical sensations or different memories, where Breaker like remembers, oh, my mom painted the walls yellow and said it was sunshine, and then like Thinker is kind of in parentheses like, my mom, like, no, my mom died as a child.
Here.
Yeah, I've never been here.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. This banner feels normal. Oh, it feels alien. It's, oh man, I loved it. I don't know, it's so good.
We get something else about Singed here too. Like, not only is he like a mad scientist who's very good at what he does, but he knows where to find people for his experiments. Like, he's not just pulling people off the street randomly.
He was stalking them.
He stalks them ahead of time. This guy's like, I've got a son back home. And he's like, oh yeah, tell me all about him. What's his name? Oh no, that's too. He's like, oh, he's turning 30. He's like, no, you don't. Your family's dead. No one's gonna miss you. That's why you're here. Like,
and not only that,
like
but
you were making a big you came to the Academy of Science of Zaun, which, for the record, I don't know if we ever heard about the Academy of Science of Zaun before. Like, it seems like that's someplace that Echo would like to go, since his parents want him to go to Piltover, but he wants to stay in Zaun. Like, fucking go to the Academy of Science there.
Interesting. I didn't even catch that it was of Zaun specifically.
Yeah, it was Zaun Academy of Sciences.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. It feels like that's almost something I would have said, like, oh, it feels like old lore. Like, there's no fucking Zaun Academy of Sciences, but maybe there is.
Right? It seemed off a little,
But
yeah, so he's very calculated in his victim choice.
And not only that, right, but the whole thrust that thinker Hadri has been dealing with is that he has some sort of genetic disease wherein it's like a wasting disease type thing. So he was going to be dead in like, I guess 3 years is what Singed said, and had been just like trying to find a cure in any place. So at some point, Singed is trying to get Hadri to latch onto Breaker, and as much as Hadri doesn't want to do it, there's also this. He feels this immense sense of like self guilt or shame at the hope that like I could live. I've been told I'm going to die in 3 to 5 years, but if I do this, I could live. And so not only does he know people and stalk them, but he knows people who who he has the most ability to influence. Maybe, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So towards the end, Singe just questioning Paldry a lot. That's what we've decided to call the combo. Yeah. What was Singe going for here? Because when he was asking Paldry, "What's your name?" and he wanted him to answer really quickly, was he trying to see which brain took over?
So I think the goal of the merging was that the other brain wouldn't exist at all.
Okay, that's what I assumed, but I wasn't sure.
Because he seemed very disappointed that they were both still there. He's like, "Oh, this is a lesser brain. I didn't put you here for your brain. Like, it's supposed to be your body, your brain."
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and that's why he's having them like answer quickly, and that's why he's asking those personal details, right? Mm-hmm. And I guess that's kind of also the twist at the end too that I kind of left out, is that he's asking these questions, and Paldry is kind of dying, and he's like, "Well, you've exceeded thinker number 2, thinker number 4." And so we learned that like, oh, he's been doing this shit repeatedly, and will continue to do this shit until he gets one that works.
Yeah. And he's getting real close.
Yeah.
He's doing well.
Man.
In the middle of this chase scene, by the way, there was an oddly whimsical description of an area. There was like, I ran past tenement blocks and corner stores, past a pair of stilt-walking chemjacks and a spring merchant. Like, oh, how fun. We got some stilt walkers and a whole store just dedicated to springs.
Sounds so great. What are they bitching about?
Maybe it's some crazy Zaun drug. Oh man, you want to get some spring in your step? There's no way it's just springs. Although I like the idea of someone just selling springs. I've got springs of all kinds.
Right?
So something else.
And I like that they use washers as currency down here. They make a reference to that, like trading washers for porridge, which is something that we also see in Arcane when Heimerdinger kind of goes to the Undercity and a girl thinks that girl thinks that he's a beggar and gives him some washers.
I've heard you got some nuts here. These will help. That is cute though. One thing I really liked about this is that they do a pretty, like, for something that's so serious and dark, etc., they also have like a bunch of abilities from Singe's like in-game kit.
Yeah, I was gonna say they really it feels like he's being played in game in a way that's not it doesn't stand out. It's not cheesy. It like fits really, really well. I do like the moment you realize that he's chasing Singed for a while and getting poisoned, and you're like, no.
They literally got all his abilities in there.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It is very impressive. I think even more impressive is that they got his fucking shield.
His massive shield.
I hate it from that shield from like a visual design perspective, but God bless this fucking writer for being able to get it into here in a way that feels pretty normal, pretty natural. I don't know. It's pretty good.
Gotta be pretty strong to hold a shield that big.
It's true. It's hard to say because also Paldry was pretty drugged at the time, so is it possible that shield that they saw was not even like an actual shield, like something else that was just kind of wonky?
It's just his tote bag.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
It's just an old lady this whole time.
But yeah, I really loved it. Like, there's so many little moments of just like, oh, they're so effective. Where like Hadri, again, the teeth stomach person, I think they fall on they fall down, belly down, and they feel this wriggling on their stomach, and they're trying to get it off, like there's something on them, and it's a slow creeping realization that like, no, it's in them is what's happening, and I loved it. I really loved it.
And his wrists too, which was like,
the wrist having.
He's got like fangs in his wrists, so he's like trying to like pick himself up by his wrists, and those aren't working either.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
That reveal is really held back. Like at first, it's just like, oh, my wrist slips, right? And it's like, oh, there's something on my wrist, and they're not working right. I can't get whatever, and it's like it has to kind of like, oh yeah, there's fucking syringe fangs on my goddamn wrists. Oh man.
Yeah, I like the reveal of when when they've escaped, then they look at themselves for the first time too, and that's really when you finally get a clear visual of what they look like. Of Haldry's just dangling off the back, kind of like seemingly useless now, but he's still in there mentally.
Yeah. I was literally just about to say just to talk about that. It's so goddamn good.
Which I mean, which does track on why the Zaunites were less excited about that augment. It's more like less of an augment and more of a that dude's sucking the life out of that dude.
Yeah, they thought that it was just like this one bad guy attached to this victim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So there's a description here where this is after Singed kind of finds them at the house, and he's threatening them with the gun because they're like, oh, I'm going to fucking kill this guy. And Singed just kind of pulls out a gun, just, nonchalant. And it said he
started blasting.
He started blasting. It said he casually flicks the dart thrower to the side, pulls the trigger, and spears a large Viridian beetle straight through. Like, fucking Singed's a crack shot. Holy shit.
That's true. Guess you kind of have to be. That's your insurance plan right there.
He let Warwick escape, He's not going to let that shit happen again, I guess.
There was one bit where I think the parentheticals swapped. And I don't know if it was intentional or not, but
it might have been.
It probably was. Yeah.
Because throughout, like, the thinker was the parenthetical for most of it. Like, as they were walking to the house, he's like, oh yeah, I recognize this place. Like, I don't know shit. But then there was one parenthetical where the main voice said, oh, I'm hideous. And then the parenthetical was like, I'm smart now. I can only assume it wasn't the thinker that said
it was Mundo. He crept in. Mundo's smart now.
Mundo's smart. Yeah. No, I'm sure it was. This all feels very intentional. Like every ounce of it feels intentionally written. So I don't think anything's accidental. Even the way they write the dialogue, because once they become fused as one, they run into those Victor people, and they're kind of like trying to like say, hey, chill, I'm cool. And the way they do it is that there's two separate lines of dialogue where like one is lowercase and then one's uppercase, and they'll kind of like split the words between the two. And so it made it really easy to visualize what that would kind of what the voice sounds like coming out. And it's like, oh yeah, that sounds fucked up. That would make me not calm down at all.
Nothing to see here.
Right? It's pretty fiddlesticks almost. I again, Singed, even like he's in this a fair amount. He doesn't say a lot, but even the way he interacts with his victims is pretty effective. Where he never calls them by name. He doesn't even talk to them directly. It's like when he's trying to get Thinker to do stuff, he's talking into his speak and say, and he's like, oh, Thinker subject is being unresponsive or whatever. If it continues, I'll apply negative reinforcement at 3 times the original level. Right? It's interesting. He refuses to like personify them or humanize them. Which is,
he only ever asks them the questions.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And like what? So last thing I had for this is like I don't want to. It should also not be undersold the fact that like Singed actually did this like 4 times presumably. He found a way to create an actual human just parasite that can just latch on to another human and just like become them. That's fucking wild.
That's alchemy, baby.
The implications of that are wild.
It really is. I think you know what's something that's so great about this as a horror piece in general is it leaving things just enough to the imagination, right? Where it gives you a description of what's going on, but it's like when it's describing what's going on with Thinker and his mouths, it's very brief, right? For like how long this piece is, the bits where I really want to know what this is, or even the description of them two. I don't remember what the name we went with. It's pretty brief, and it's like, and again, that sort of lingering thought of like, wait, hold on, you've been doing this multiple times, at least 4 times. All those right moments to let the imagination kind of wander and carry it off into an even spookier, scarier shit. It's very well done.
Yeah.
And then we've got a follow-up piece with a kind of a similar vibe, I guess.
I suppose, yeah. Engineering the Nightmare.
Yeah, so it's by Philip Vargas.
I assume this is actually happened before, because Singed is super bandaged out in the host by Stephanie Meyer. But
You fucking nerd.
I mean, nerd. I don't know. Whatever. But regardless.
Hey, come on, the host, and that Stephanie Meyer wrote it. Only a nerd would know this.
Only the most elite geek would know that shit. But yeah, this one it's very similar. Singed, he doesn't stray far from his wheelhouse, but it is told from his perspective. It's almost like his notes, I guess, is the way this is kind of written. Where he's working on some
and
old
his schematics.
Bullshit. Yeah, his schematics. Those are really cool. Can I say? If you go read it on the universe page. I don't know if they have the images in the wiki. Maybe they do.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool visuals on there.
Yeah, but he's essentially, it's the notes about some subject that he is working on, and he is trying to imbue them with like a shape-changing sort of effect, chimeric. He wants to turn them into a chimeric monster. For I don't know what his end goal is. To be fair, he talks about, I picked up some cutthroat with airs of civility or whatever, and they're my subject. And so he's taking notes on his experiments and how he's been the surgical work that he's been doing to fuse some sort of injector into them. No anesthetic at all, by the way. Talks about the subject screamed for 6 hours. That's a good sign. Good resiliency on this one. Tries a few injections of it, and it causes these shape changes to kind of happen. At one point, the person's hand kind of breaks off, for lack of a better kind of descriptor. And what he finds is oh shit, there's a new proto hand that's sort of forming. I know what I'll do. I'll make a crazy metal fucking claw and attach it to that so that it will grow into that and become that. He continues his work, and eventually shit goes a little bit too crazy, and the subject, I guess the subject breaks free of the restraints, slashes him in the face, but also appears to have died. They're well, throw him on the heap. I think he dumps him in the sump, actually, is where he puts this individual, and then comes back to his lab one day, and it's been broken into, and it's been fucked up, and all his shit's been fucked up, and he looks around, hey, look at all these gouges, almost like that metal claw I made. The subject is still alive, and he's not even at all perturbed. He's I'll get a new lab, but this just sends my brain spiraling with a bunch of questions. I'll have to investigate it further. And at one point, I think during the ordeal, this subject, it's Warwick, by the way. It's Warwick, everybody.
Oh, what?
Warwick said some name, I think it was. It was one of the only things he said that was of value. And Singed is I'll go and I'll follow that lead. That will maybe lead me to Warwick.
Well, hope that name wasn't Powder, because he's not going to find much on her.
Or maybe she's called Jinx now. I don't know.
So there was a part here that said that he was testing a surgical technique that he observed during the Ionian campaign. And I'm really curious about that. Like,
Was he like there?
if he was, when was it the Ionians that were doing it, or the Noxians? And who were the doctors behind it? Was this Black Rose shit or what?
All I know is it involves access to the vertebrae, so I cannot imagine that the Ionians were doing
easy
this shit.
access to the scapula.
It was
Or
long,
scapula,
I bet.
yeah. Can't imagine Ionians were doing that shit.
I don't know. You got those, we heard those Ionians in the Riven story that were bringing the dead back to life.
That is true. That would be pretty interesting if Ionians had some sort of crazy medical bullshit. I don't know. It was almost like bordering on horror. I don't know.
There was also a line here that said that when he was working on those claws, it said he worked until first light, forging steel, sharpening edges, and hammering a framework. And I need one of those Jason the Forge montages, but with like Singed.
And he's shirtless
Just
too.
shirtless Singed.
Just shimmering with this like pale ribs. Oh, honey, I think you could do that photo shoot. You could be
Ooh.
I'm not tall enough.
We could do angles that'll make you look taller.
Nice.
I thought you were going to be
Spicy
taller when we met, based on your dating profile pictures.
And that's how you do it.
I got 9-inch pumps that I just constantly wear anyway. Hey, well, it all worked out, right?
And one of the images we get in here is the mirrors one of the final images of Arcane too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last few images were very arcane.
Yeah, you get the man hanging from Singed slab. In kind of the same pose even.
Man, can I say, I really like Vander in Arcane. And after reading all this Singed shit, I feel really bad that he ended up being Warwick. It's like, oh man, that sucks.
I know.
That's a shitty
And I
situation.
also really hope we get all that in Arcane season 2 though.
I mean, god damn, I had kind of forgotten about the whole Singed like sequence in that show, but like reading this brought it back in full force. It was like, that was really well done, right? They really captured the essence of that's kind of captured here, right?
Yeah, just deeply uncomfortable. Showing just enough to make you uncomfortable, but not too much.
Yeah, the idea that like you would need to sedate an onlooker for their own sanity feels very reasonable now. You know, after seeing the shit that he's done. If I had one complaint about this, and it's a very minor one, so it's written from Singed's perspective. He is very poetic. I will say. he's got a writer's air to him a little bit, and it's like, it's not his fault, you know, because like obviously it's still a story that they're trying to tell. Like it can't just be his like completely emotionless, detached scientific notes or whatever. But this is a little thing. I don't know.
Little too Robert Frost for Mark there.
You know, it reminds me of like Blitzcrank from way back when, where Blitz had a perspective piece. There was a little too like, this feels like the right, like it's a writer instead of like the person.
Yeah.
But I'll give it to him. It's fine.
Saying.
It's still a really cool way to tell a Singed story, I will say, through his notes or whatever.
My man's got to stop experimenting to try and create creatures that can easily kill him.
But
create them through torture, and then he just keeps fucking losing them. Like, this does not seem like a sustainable business
Maybe
practice.
it's just these two. Maybe the rest of them didn't. We're just only seeing the two that did.
He is such a dick in that he's doing all this shit and like doesn't at all sedate or anesthetize anybody. He's like grafting shit into people's like blood, like their veins and shit. It's like, you couldn't. You know what? If nothing else, it seems like that would make it really fucking hard to do surgery. I'll say, if someone was awake the whole fucking time, right? And yelling.
I mean, only if you were trying to not hurt that person, I guess.
I guess that's true. But he wants them to live. I guess that's the thing, right? It's like, he doesn't. If they die, well, they probably weren't good test material anyway. So.
Right? Yeah. They're not tough enough. It kind of seems like, so in his canon lore versus arcane lore, it seems like a lot of his ideas about what will cause and sustain a transformation are literally just pain. He specifically doesn't give any of that because it's the pain that's going to cause the transformation. So like canon Singed just replaces Shimmer for pain, because in Arcane, Shimmer's that thing. It's like he's doing experiments with people, and it's the Shimmer that causes the transformations in them. So, they just swap him around to make him more chemist.
Yeah.
Sure. That's fair. Well, I mean, yeah, that's a good point.
Which makes sense. I mean, he is an alchemist, spelled all funny.
I love it. I fucking love it. It makes it different, okay? It's not an alchemist like This is a cool new alchemist. It's a new hotness.
He doesn't care about laws of equivalent exchange.
Right. Oh, wow.
No metal here.
Goddamn. Full Metal Alchemist is good, though. I will say.
I've never finished it somehow.
I haven't either. But I really liked the first.
It was good, though,
yeah.
what I've seen. Yeah.
So those are like the main Singed stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's mentioned in a few others. First off is Blood of Noxus, which is the comic, actually, where Darius and Coletta Varn are walking through the aftermath of a chemical attack from Ionia from Emistan, who is the person who approached Singed about the chemicals, and they specifically refer to this carnage as being from a Zaunite alchemist.
With a Y.
With a Y.
Yeah.
So it's got to be Singed.
Yeah.
She's the only one who fucking spells like that.
That's why they kicked him out. It's like, Singed,
You're not spelling it right, Singed, Professor.
Use an E. I refuse. Don't stifle me. Then he shows up in Sister of War, where, he doesn't show up, but we kind of see again the aftermath of that chemical attack from the perspective of several Noxian soldiers who were present, including Riven. And then also in the Exile, which is the Riven bio, same deal there. And then we've got the Uncaged Wrath of Zaun by David Slagle, which is the Warwick bio. And the Warwick bio actually has a line very similar to Silco and Arcane, where it said, Singed would reveal his subjects' true nature, the deadly beast hidden within a good man.
I want to get to Warwick, man. Shit.
Right?
I know.
Also, we get a very different view of Warwick's death, by the way, in the Warwick bio than we do in the Singed story. In the Warwick bio, it just says, restrained against the cold steel of the table, Warwick writhed in agony for hours on end until his body finally gave out.
The highlights, the quick summary.
And then finally, he shows up in one which isn't technically canon anymore. It's the Shadows Beckon, which is an Evelyn story. So this is when Evelyn was still just kind of an assassin, and she infiltrated a compound that was guarded by goons. And those goons had bodies who'd been turned into brutal chemtech weapons by Singed.
Some goons. The Goonies. That's what the Goonies are about.
They're just little goons.
That does make Evelyn more impressive. If you told me, like, oh, these are Zaun goons, it's like, whatever. It's like, oh, these are Singed Zaun goons.
Right.
That's a higher pedigree.
Yeah, they're messed up.
Real messed up. But I think that's canon Singed, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
There was one little bit I forgot from the host that I do want to mention, is that at one point, Hadri had run into Singed when Hadri was still like in the academy, or like tooling around the academy, and talks about how Singed would walk around like fully confident with like tinted shades and like the smell of cologne like wafting through the air. And I imagine him being this super slick motherfucker. I just love that idea.
I need Professor Singed, like
Right?
pre-Zaun Singed, Piltover Singed. We need that one, that skin.
Like all the like the co-eds are like, like, ooh, like they're like all fawning, like, oh my.
Or
like
maybe it's the
Jones.
opposite. Like he's walking around confident, but like he actually reeks of cologne like way too much.
You're like, oh, don't.
They're like, oh my god, fucking Professor Singed is on his way. Run, get out
Don't
of here.
follow him.
Do
Don't
not
follow
follow him. Don't chase Singed. She smells terrible.
Love that. Oh my god, that's better. That's way better.
Uh.
All right, you want to do old lore?
Oh, let's fucking do some old lore.
All right.
Now, there's a lot of different versions of this. So I'm not going to do the oldest bio. I am going to do the version of the bio.
Sorry, a cat's trying to climb the wall.
I'll do the version of the bio where they specifically mention the journal or the League of Legends.
Okay.
So this was old lore. He was a brilliant chemist who was chosen to apprentice under Warwick,
Oh.
who is a scientific mercenary in the armies of Noxus.
Okay, sure.
And it said his master invented implements of mass death and destruction, chemicals that could burn a man's lungs to ash, poisons that killed selectively, and more. So he was super down. He loved that shit. He was learning a lot. But then Warwick got turned into a werewolf by Soraka, so Singed kind of took over.
He just says that shit like it's like, oh yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like I remember talking about this now. It was Soraka was like, "You're too evil. I will turn you into a werewolf." It's just like, Soraka, you're not helping anyone. He's not like easier to deal with now. I could have run away from him before when he was just the man.
Right? That was fast as fuck. He's got claws
He's
and
a
shit.
fucking wolf, you bitch.
And he's still smart. You didn't even take his brains away.
That's the most fucked up part about it.
Why did they do that?
And she gave up her immortality for that shit.
This would have made more sense if it was like Twitch, like she turned him into a rat or something. But oh my god!
Don't worry, we'll get to those.
Oh great!
And then the League bit, it said, when the uneasy peace created by the League of Legends settled on the world, Singed journeyed to the one place where he was still able to showcase his beloved craft, the Institute of War. By the time he was barely even a man, by that time, he was barely even a man.
Wow.
His body was ruined and sustained by the chemicals.
You're not even a man.
Okay.
That's
Barely a man.
That's his judgment. He just walks through the door and you're like, ugh, barely a man. Be gone.
Use more cologne.
Yeah.
Nice. Great.
So yeah, he couldn't find anywhere that would accept his ruthlessness, but he was like, but the League,
They will.
they're
They'll
down,
accept
they're
anyone.
so down with this shit.
Did he join the League before or after Warwick? I don't
good
know.
question.
Who knows? Yeah, I don't think it's answered in the old lore, to be honest with you.
Yeah. This was back when Warwick was also the stand with Pididdly, right?
Fuck if I know,
What?
man. You know, maybe. Who the fuck knows?
Which I loved that they brought him back into Arcane, but as a completely different person.
Yeah, they made him an actual, like, a good individual instead of a big
Right.
angry, like, kind of drunk or whatever. I remember him, like, talking mad shit at someone's funeral, but I don't remember whose it was. He had to be escorted off the premises.
Man, the Journal of Justice was great.
Old shit. You know what? It is great, and I will say it's great because I read the articles and oh my god. Let's talk
It's
about
so
it.
good. So he shows up in a surprising amount of articles. So he shows up first in issue 3 in an article just titled Blitz Spank. And I'm not going to summarize this for you. I'm just going to read this article. It's short enough, and you deserve to hear it. Last week, Blitzcrank proved once and for all that he doesn't have an iron heart when he spanked Singed in a behind-the-scenes smackdown. After a battle in Twisted Treeline last Thursday, the crazy chemist took to his usual habit of spitting jabs at Blitzcrank. Singed was heard to say, "So I know you don't have the stones. Even if you did, what would they be? 2 ball bearings and a tin can?" Those close to Singed commented that this insult was no more than one of Singed's usual jabs. This time, however, the great steam golem unleashed a jab of his own, firing his rocket fist into his counterpart's more tender parts. Singed was brought to his knees in front of many other champions as Blitzcrank walked quietly away. Sources close to the great steam golem say that this was a long time coming. A source confided, "Blitzcrank is a good guy. He's always on his best behavior, but he's kind of an introvert in his private life. There have been some people like Singed who take his quiet kindness for weakness. That's a mistake. A mistake that Singed learned the hard way." And then neither of them could be reached for comment. Too bad for them.
Next week on America's Funniest Home Videos.
Ball busters.
That one's gotta hurt.
God fucking bless the Journal of Justice, can I just say? Bring it back. I want every champion to have a scene in some story where they get hit right in the old beanbag. By
I
a
like
blitz
the
hook,
idea that
no less.
Blitzcrank would care that he doesn't have a dick.
It's the principle of the matter.
I guess so.
I love that though. Do you think that he also hooked them back? No, that's nuts.
Oh man.
Might have.
That's why in his judgment they said he's barely a man.
Oh no.
But yeah,
It's the cologne.
I love that. Damn.
It's very good. He shows up again in issue 5. We don't learn much here.
Can't hear any more of this.
We basically... You can and you will. We basically just find out that Mundo, Warwick, and Singed are permanent Twisted Tree Line buddies.
Aww.
All these mentions of TT is making me like, oh man.
Right?
I know,
Real
right?
nostalgic.
I had just started getting into Twisted Tree Line, by the way, when they fucking killed it.
Yeah.
After bringing it back after killing it.
Yeah.
Feels bad. Now, issue 10, this is kind of during the Ionia Noxus rematch, where Singed obviously volunteers to fight for Noxus. But more interestingly, there's an article in this where we find out that Warwick was kidnapped and experimented on before breaking free and going on a killing spree. So they called Singed in to calm him down since they were old buds, but the kidnapper was never found.
Was he even experimented on? I thought he was just kind of straight up tortured. I guess he got injected with
What's
a bunch
the difference?
It's a fair, I guess, because they talk about him being like whipped with like iron hot, like hot ass whips, and like that he was injected with things, but they were just things that would make pain worse, and that this person was like, do you feel bad for all the Ionians you killed or whatever? So it's like, I think this was going to be a champion. That's my sense, the smell.
Right.
That makes sense.
But they never pulled the trigger.
It was Yasuo.
But he had cool whips. He was like that guy from Iron Man 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god, yeah.
Mickey Rourke
Yeah, yes.
as himself.
That would kind of line up with all the like wrestler shit that was going on in that the Blitz Spank episode or article or whatever.
Now, issue 11. Do you want to cover this one, Mark?
I don't have them written down by issue. Is this the one where he goes and deals
It's
with
the
rat
one.
Okay, so like, look, Noxus is still occupying Ionia at this point, and they got a fucking rat problem. So, like, rats as big as children, I think, is what it's described as, which seems like that's a pretty big like range. Kind of ruins.
Well, I think they said that. I don't know if they said that they were as big as children, but they were carrying away children. I kind of imagined a bunch of rats kind of working together.
I thought they said they were as big as children. Either big as children or big enough to carry away children, or maybe, like I said, working together. It's a big fucking problem. So what
Either
do they do?
way.
They call Singed, because Singed is good at, like, he's just a pest guy, I guess. I don't know. Singed does like odd jobs in the Journal of Justice. He does another one later.
He does fucking everything.
The guy is always hustling. All right, he's grinding.
Right? Yeah, he's got side hustle after side hustle.
I didn't take notes. I just thought it was fucking hilarious that like Singed, this crazy war criminal, whatever guy, they just get him like, hey, come deal with our rats, right? And it made me wonder if like this was a Twitch tease or like Twitch related, but I didn't see anything that made it seem like it. I don't know when Twitch got released. To be fair,
they so they even mentioned, by the way, that when he's exterminating, he's like, yeah, the rats are gone. That's great. He did fucking just absolutely destroy the land.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's like Mouse Hunt. You ever see that movie?
Man, what a pull.
Like 90s. I know.
I feel like Mouse Hunt's actually a really good movie, but I haven't seen it since I was like a child. So I don't know.
Child. I have seen it since then, and I do remember it being good, but I also don't think I was much older.
I mean, it's got fucking oh no, what's his name? Oh, from like Birdcage.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah. I also can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
But I knew immediately who we were talking about.
I feel so bad. But he's good.
All right, you keep thinking about it. I'll keep on here because Soraka has some shit to say about Singed being brought in here.
She'll turn all the rats into tigers to make it easier.
Right?
Nathan Lane, yeah.
Yes. Noxus invades my beloved island, introduces unnatural pests, and then expects to solve this crisis with corrosive chemicals and destruction. We will not stand for this assault on our fragile land. The League of Legends must recognize this occupation for what it is, a clear disregard for life and beauty in the name of profit. And then Singed was just like, Soraka doesn't have to worry about this much. Noxian citizens in Ionia will be perfectly safe from my improved rodenticide formulas. And he had no comment on whether Zaun was related in the rats getting there in the first place.
I like the idea that he like went over to Ionia and just kicked a few rats out of his pant leg. I was like, this will bear some fruit later on.
So issue 12 is when the actual rematch happened. Singed, who is controlled by the summoner friend, lost the battle for Ionia like a chump. And then issue 17, we got a mailbag of justice.
Woo!
So this person is, they mention, I've often chosen Vladimir as my champion to do battle on the fields of justice, and I'm filled with morbid fascination regarding his transfusion. Do individual champions have unique tasting blood? Does the dark blood of the void differ from, say, the chemical-laden blood of Singed? And which champion would you say is your favorite? Vlad said that yes, they all taste different, but they weren't willing to commit to a favorite, so we don't get to learn that little tidbit about Vlad.
Well, darn.
Oh.
Now the next two are another side job by Singed.
Great.
So Gragas and Singed go into business together. Since Singed has so many factories with, giant chemical vats in them in Zaun, Gragas is like, we could use that to brew shit. So Gragas is looking to distribute Graggy Ice more widely. So they're partnering with Singed Brewing Company to distribute.
It is so stupid. Can I just say, I love the Journal of Justice because it's so this is such humdrum bullshit for these champions to be doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, what's the business venture? What get rich quick scam is Singed trying to get someone else in on? I got a bridge to sell you, right? God.
Could you imagine buying from a brewing company that also specializes in killing rodents?
Right.
Please don't mix them.
Right.
Mix.
Mix. I'd like my craggy ice with the side of war crimes, please.
Yeah, just a little. It makes Gragas look like more of a dick in the old. Well, you know what? He's just trying to make money. He's just
doing what he can out there in this crazy world.
Crazy. Yeah.
And then issue 28, they're already expanding out to the Freljord.
Great.
Cool.
So that's their arc.
So there is a successful business venture.
Now, you know what? It's worth mentioning. So this was issue 27 and 28. This is well into the stories where we're talking about the complete implosion of the League as a whole. The whole calling into doubt, oh my god, are the summoners are they working with the bad guys? What's going on? Is there corruption at the highest levels? And also, Gragas and Singed are setting up a little distillery here in Zaun.
Look, man, it's the Journal of Justice. We can't have...
That's just the JOJ.
Right. Can't have some trivial bullshit in there just to, pad it out. I don't know.
Now, Singed shows up in a few cinematics. Kind of.
Great.
His silhouette is in Clash of Fates. And his poison is in the Mac launch. So
okay, cool. Is it actually his poison for sure? For real?
For real.
I'm pretty confident about this.
I trust you. I trust.
And he has a few quotes that are references. So, I figured a lot of them are pretty lesser
Pretty
known.
subtle.
So,
Yeah.
We've got to shake or not to shake. Now, this one's it's a play on to be or not to be from
who wrote that?
a little lesser known author named Billy Shakes
You mean this? Yeah.
from his show Hamlet.
Oh, you mean the Scott? Yeah. Oh, no, that's Macbeth.
And then we've got shaken
call
not
him
stirred.
Billy Shakes.
We could, yeah. Hey, wait, no, that's his cool fun name. Shaken not stirred, James Bond reference. I know that a lot of people missed that. So, but this next one actually is kind of a deep cut. Apparently, Mix Mix Swirl Mix is a reference to a scene from the Star Wars Holiday Special, but I don't know which one, and I'm not going to rewatch it to find out.
I will.
I imagine it is the scene where there is not Cloris Leachman. Who is it that's like the bartender lady who sings? What's her name?
I don't remember. It's been so long.
But it must be from that. That's my guess.
I'll take your word for it, 100%.
I've never seen it, but I've seen people talk about it.
I'm watching it this year, baby.
Okay, well, maybe we'll do a watch. We'll know for sure.
It's great.
Look at that. We'll finally get
It's
that
not.
Singed reference.
Half of the fucking special is Ewoks speaking their Ewok language with no subtitle.
You mean Wookiees, son?
Yeah, Wookiees, sorry. Wookiees are
Get
speaking...
called out.
Fucking fake nerd over here.
Sorry, there was an Ewok special too, and I got confused.
Go play sports, John. Name 6 Star War right now.
Star Wars 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Alright, anyway. Let's get these AUs.
There's a lot of AUs,
I'm about
actually.
to fall asleep. Yeah, I know he's so many skins.
All right, so first up, we got Sunkissed Summer, which is what pool party's under.
This is a good one.
It's summer, baby. The sun's out, the breeze is warm, and the water's cool. Everybody's leaving their rivalries and grudges at home and bringing only swimsuits and good vibes.
So old.
There'll be plenty of time for punching and yelling later. Just sit back, enjoy music, and soak up for fun. Now, this one's Surfer Singed. Sure, the haircut's dated, and the off-brand sunscreen is a little dodgy, but Singed held out on the tiki mug, and look what came roaring back into fashion. The man's a visionary. Fun fact about this one, pre-rework Tarek can still be seen on his sunscreen bottle.
Really?
Tarek's Tropical Tan SPF 3. I don't know where Singed is wearing it because he's covered in bandages. And where he's not covered in bandages, he has sunglasses on. But he does have great blonde surfer hair.
Oh,
He
yeah.
does. And this is a great one.
What a do.
Next, yeah, it's great. Next up, we got Silver Age, the Rift's greatest superheroes and most dastardly villains available at a comic store near you.
Bane!
Yeah, no, sorry, it's Augmented Singed, not to be confused. A dastardly villain lurking in the dark corners of New Valoran, the mild-mannered Dr. Peter Singed was transformed by a volatile chemical of his own invention.
Petey, my boy! No!
I hope that's his real name in the main
Oh my
universe.
God.
Oh, I would fucking love that.
Professor Peter Singed.
Now, Dr. Peter Singed became the superhuman criminal known only as Singed.
I thought it was going to be a play on Bane.
Nope. Can anyone stop this vile malefactor before it's too late?
I wonder who he is.
Right?
Also, where's Professor Peter Singed or Dr. Peter Singed? He's gone missing. I hope Singed didn't take him.
Good shit.
Now we've got Eclipse, which is where Omen of the Dark is. This story of a cursed queen and the wretched followers of her order make unpleasant bedside banter for parents and their children. But lessons last longer when the tale is gripped in shadow, which swirls in dreams and shapes the souls of impressionable youth. The nightmare are just nightmares, after all. Or so the adults pray. And this is Black Scourge Singed.
So cool.
The Doctor Singed induced many dreams with his mastery of science, and in these dreams, the Queen would gaze across the whole of creation, unraveling its secrets. But the shadow soon found her, and as she so hungered for its power, Singed turned to the craven arts to speed her corruption.
Ooh. Craven arts.
Next up, we have bees.
Wee bees!
Whose lore blurb is buzz, 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 buzz.
Fucking awesome.
Beekeeper Singed. At first, Singed wasn't certain he wanted to be a master beekeeper, but the moment he put on the protective suit, he knew it was destiny. Nowadays, he can be found tending his hives, eating honey, or flipping any hapless wanderers that stop to gaze upon his work. No gazing allowed. Next up, we got Battlecast. The glorious revolution is here. Assembling an army of machines with living brains, Victor marches against the combined forces of his enemies, with only a scrappy human-led resistance keeping him from total world domination. And surprisingly, this is Resistance Singed. Though many in the Resistance find Singed unsettling, few can deny his efficacy in pushing back the machine threat. For Singed, the only thing that matters is driving back Victor's creations, whatever that means.
I haven't seen this one before.
There was a lot of them I actually was seeing for the first time.
Really?
Yeah?
Yeah. So, I mean, this next one I didn't know existed. Star Voyager / Astronauts.
Yeah, I didn't know we had an astronaut one. This one's really new, though.
All right, then I'm forgiven.
It's from this year.
Astronauts, hijinks, and adorable alien meeps. Defying gravity is just another day for these adventurous space protectors as they defend planet Meep and traverse the grand cosmos that await them.
It's so cute.
This one is Astronaut Singed. No space adventure would be complete without a navigator. When Singed isn't creating special concoctions to keep his team safe, he's steering the crew ship through the galaxy, masterfully guiding them to wherever his captain's whimsical orders lead them, and collecting any adorable meeps along the way. What a good guy.
I was going to say, I love it. It's nice and good.
Good guy,
helpful.
Singed. Alright, now we got Hextech. Now at the forefront of science and art, Hextech has evolved from its rudimentary beginnings into a modern renaissance of intricate artificial life forms capable of free will. Skilled artificers lead the medium into a bold new future, but what it will bring, none can say.
Now, this one I haven't seen, and what a head of hair
neither.
on this guy. Looks like Bart Simpson.
Oh wait, no, I have seen this one, I think.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, no, I haven't. Hextech Singed. Zaun's early forays into Hextech were critical to the movement, but not all were met with success. The scientist known as Singed warped his mind and body as he looped noxious, magically infused chemical byproducts into his veins, twisting himself into a monster with bad hair.
Look at it. Just like Bart.
I feel like this is not Hextech at all. This is like...
It's not! What is this? It's so gross!
It's
Ew.
aggressively non-Hextech. In
Get
fact.
outta
like
here.
Chemtech. I feel like almost this is
Yeah.
what Singed might look like actually in
Right?
lore.
Then we've got The Grind, which is kind of the day job one. And there's a whole off branch of it called Mad Scientist.
This is the skin I always used to use, and I think I still use the most.
The job requirements are pretty simple. We're looking for at least 5 years of experience in applied sciences, your last peer-reviewed paper, and 2 references. And an evil laugh. Actually, put that at the top of the list.
Gotta be there.
And this one's Mad Scientist Singed. Everyone thinks Singed is crazy. In reality, he's just a normal scientist with a penchant for bright neon colors. Just a normal guy.
Just styling.
Just styling. Then we got Snowdown Showdown. He's part of the Snow Day line. It's beginning to look a lot like Snow Day. Up and down the lanes. Though your tank may be rushing in, top is backing again. They have gold to spend on a Lich Bane.
Yay!
Ooh, yeah, well done.
Can't wait for summer to be over.
It hasn't started yet.
I'm not a summer gal.
I love summer.
Sorry.
This one's Snow Day Singed. Even deranged chemists need a day off, and Singed is no exception. Riding into battle with his recently sharpened sled, patent pending, Porta-Blizzard backpack, he's ready to dominate the snowball game, one crushing victory at a time. Cool. And there's a cinematic for this called a Snowdown Snowflake, or a Snowdown Snowtail, rather. This is where the Poro King sends a young Poro on an urgent mission to find the one with a magnificent enough mustache to save Snowdown. So he passes a lot of champs on his little mission, including Singed, who we see getting one shot by a Zigzalt. If only. And then Ziggs tries to kill the Poro, and Braum rushes in and saves him. Braum is the one. He's the mustache.
Great. Awesome.
It was him the whole time.
And then we got the Badge. In the criminal justice system, there are those who bend the law and those who break it. The dedicated officers of the RPD investigate the city's most heinous crimes to bring the worst offenders to justice. These are their stories. But actually not, because he has no lore for this. So
Sorry,
you don't get Singed stories.
Okay, thank you.
God, I forgot about this one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's one of the Riot skins. This is Riot Singed, by the way. This is one of those ones you needed to see a Rioter at a live event to get.
Oh man, damn. There was a time where I had a whole stack of these sitting around in my wallet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think they all got thrown away because there was no way
Sorry,
in hell I was
guys.
ever going to be seeing some League player IRL again long after I quit Riot.
Now, finally, the other AU, which he also doesn't technically have a skin in, but he's in, is Arcane. We know all about Arcane Singed. So, during his younger years, he was known to have worked with Heimerdinger, and they were initially partners, but Heimerdinger did not approve of Singed's unethical and inhumane methods, so the two of them parted ways. Singed went to the Undercities. At some point between those events and the Arcane one, Singed had a daughter, who eventually passed away from unknown causes. Though fan theories are that his daughter is Oriana, because he looks at a picture of her in a locket, and the picture looks kind of like Oriana. So
We'll see.
yeah. Meaning in Arcane lore, he could potentially be her father, Khorne Revik, which, to be fair, the delicate metalwork he's capable of on his experiments on people doesn't rule this out, because he was a pretty good with his hands and machines.
Mm-hmm. It made me wonder in the host. I was going to say, when the POV character says he has a son, but he's lying, if maybe Singed was a little like if you want to try and continue with that line of thinking, if maybe he was
Which
a little,
I do.
Yeah, he's like a little extra like bitter about him lying about having a son or something like that. I kind of like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I could see that. Now, at some point after he arrived in Zaun, he adopted a wave rider named Rio, who had a rare mutation, which was beneficial to his research. Shortly after, he met Victor, who helped him take care of Rio, until his methods of keeping her alive became a little bit too inhumane for him. He used that mutation to create Shimmer, which, Silco used to rule the underground. He survived the explosion from Powder, though got heavily scarred from it, and continued his experiments, creating many variants of Shimmer. Eventually, he saves Jinx's life with Shimmer, and then we see him experimenting on Warwick at the end of the season. Yeah.
He's cool.
He's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Man, I want to watch Arcane again.
Right.
Just thinking about this shit. Like, there's all these little moments that have kind of like fallen into the back of my mind.
Man, I would rewatch it. I've watched so many reaction videos
You've
too.
seen Arcane so many times.
I would pause every 3 seconds to point out hey, that's the little thing I missed. Check that out. Did you see that?
Oh, I can't wait to rewatch Arcane with you, John.
Right? This is gonna be so fun. Speaking of fun, want to hear some fun facts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So being present during the discovery of hex tech means that Singed may be over 100 years old.
Of course he is.
Which, we know that his research kind of helps prolong his life, so now he's trying to gain immortality.
Makes sense.
Singed has a bio quote, "My deadliest dose shall bear my patron's name," which is a reference to a line from the Devil's Dictionary by Ambrose Bierce. "My deadliest drug shall bear my patron's name," referring to Mercury.
Oh.
Man, that is I think that's old bio. I'm certain that's not in his new bio. Like, I don't remember seeing that shit at all.
Probably. Singed, one of the first 6 champions. Sorry, I said 5. It was 6. Singed's dance references Will Smith's Jump On It dance from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which Kale also used to have before it was changed.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And a bonus fun fact on this one, there exists a video on YouTube of me doing this dance with a bunch of other people from player support and community, because Andrew Beagle, who was the community manager at the time, promised the players that we would do it if a patch didn't go out in time, and fucking of course it didn't, because back then none of our patches went out on time.
You know what? God damn. I mean, why would you... God.
So there's a video of a bunch of us on stage doing that dance. Andrew Beagle's in there too, with a Pantheon helmet and spear, and that's just kind of what we did back then, guys.
You gotta love it. Gotta fucking love it.
Singed is one of the few champions with a special interaction between his emotes and his ability set, as Fling will automatically cause him to laugh.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best change Riot ever fucking made, I might say.
Yeah, absolutely. Although Singed holds his shield in his left hand in the default splash art, every other skin has it in his right.
That I never even noticed that. You're right. Weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
It's kind of like Link.
Yeah.
He was left-handed in every Zelda game, but then Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom right-handed.
Oh,
I started with Skyward Sword.
Oh, yeah, for the motion controls.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Because most people were right-handed.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Frankly, the Zelda thing is the most interesting thing about that. That they would change it for the motion controls, frankly.
Yeah.
Last fun fact, the bottle in his hand used to have a skull design on it, but it was removed.
Give Singed back his skull, Riot.
Cowards.
Now it's just grape juice or whatever. I don't remember what color it is. Lime drink.
It's Fanta. Fanta. Well, that was Singed.
Yeah.
We did it.
Way better than I was expecting going into this.
Yeah.
Just cool writing all around.
Yes.
He's got cool new lore, and he's got good old lore. This is a fucking...
Unheard of.
And he's got a shit ton of AUs. It's the trifecta.
Yeah, honestly.
It wasn't in Star Guardian, so you didn't have to read that again.
He wasn't in
Although I love
Ruination,
Star
so
Guardian.
thank God we didn't have to
It's
talk about that again.
Yeah, there you go.
I was going to say, he has a shit ton of AUs, not part of any of the ridiculous,
ones.
annoying ones.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, yeah.
He's a winner all
Good
around.
job, Singed.
What a good guy.
He's doing great work, bud. Keep it up.
Proud of you.
Well, that was Singed. Thank you so much for listening. We have merch. We'll say that first now. Bonfire.com/League of Loreheads. We have some t-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff like that with a lot of inside jokes, mostly. We also have a Twitter. It's @Loreheads. And we have a Twitch, twitch.tv/Loreheads. We stream on Saturdays and Mondays. John does Saturdays. He'll do TFT and ARAMs with viewers. And then Mondays is who knows what. Not with viewers generally. We're just kind of playing League with friends and stuff like that. Trying to do Summoner's Rift every once in a while.
doing our darndest.
Getting scared every time.
One of them. Technically.
We did one last Monday. Yeah, just one. It was all we could muster up. I'm so sorry. I'm yawning in the middle of all of this. We have a YouTube where we post videos of the episodes. You could see my moo pajamas. If you need to see that.
Not to be confused with a moo
Moo-moo.
pajamas.
I would love a moo pajamas. Oh my god, a moo.
Yeah,
Oh
same.
my god.
Riot. The
Blah,
merch.
blah, 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 blah.
Okay, so like sometimes I read like we have a book that has like the Old MacDonald had a farm and it's like a cow
And a moo here and a
moo.
moo. I do that all the time.
There's some league children's book that's in there somewhere.
It's there.
But yes.
Yeah. We also have a Patreon. Thank you so much to all of our patrons.
But a very special thank you to our Medarda tier patrons: Big Man Gnomes, Chloe Things, King of Hearts, Kiss Me Mark, Shuba Moustache, The Gooch Slammer, and Trideca. If you had been captured by Singed, I would break you out before you got the teeth installed in your stomach.
Well, that's good. Because afterwards, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Maybe after the wrist ones, but before the stomach one, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Hedge your
overpromise,
bets,
you know?
right? Yeah.
Under promise, over deliver.
All I got to do is cause an explosion somewhere, apparently.
Yeah.
Which I think is really easy in Zaun.
Right.
Right? It's just happening all the fucking
Just
time.
right all the time. Sorry. There was like something on the pop filter, so I went to pull it off, and then it just kept stretching, and I don't know. I think it's just a piece of the pop filter. I'm done. Sorry. Please be sure to join us next week. We're going to talk about the undead juggernaut Scion.